Yeah, guys, this is Mazda's Moving the Game Forward, brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. Because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible. They remind us to go the extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep the game moving forward. And it asked me to talk about a highlight here, and I still think back to Messi's performance in the World Cup. And that is what keeps the fans and players moving forward. And a performance like that is always chasing the next great moment. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. Just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved.
So we talked about the Browns passing attack going up against Green Bay's defense. Let's flip the script here. How about when Jordan Love and the Packers have the ball going up against Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Greg Newsome, and the Browns secondary? The Browns, through 2 games, have held Joe Burrow to sub 200 yards. They held Lamar Jackson. I know he threw 4 touchdowns, but well below his typical numbers, and they were granted a lot of points with short fields. He did throw. Listen, fact's a fact.
The offense put him in those.
Yeah. But the Browns did a pretty good job defensively limiting what the Ravens wanted to do from a passing standpoint. When you look at this matchup for Sunday, Green Bay and their, I don't want to say misfit cast of receivers, but it's certainly not a who's who. They got a bunch of guys that don't have a bunch of dudes against Denzel, Greg, Grant, and the Browns secondary. Does Jordan Love have the weaponry needed to carve up this Browns secondary, or does the Browns secondary have the advantage in this head-to-head matchup against the Green Bay passing attack?
I mean, I'm gonna give the Browns the advantage on this one, and it's almost kind of not close. When you have Denzel Ward and you have, and I've been saying, to me, one of the most impressive guys this year has been Greg Newsome. I think he's played really good the first 2 games. You take a look at, he looks like he's more comfortable out there. He looks like he's embracing that position more. Always remember, Greg Newsome was not enthused about being a nickel guy. He always felt to himself that that's where he played his entire life. He's comfortable out there. And now he doesn't have to look over his shoulder because he knows that they're counting on him to do some things, right? Because Martin Emerson is hurt. So when you have that and you have, Denzel Ward against some of these receivers that they have, I mean, they're not bad. I mean, by any stretch of the imagination, I think they got, all of them make up a pretty solid receiving core, but there's no Jamar Chases. There's no T. Higgins. I don't think any of these guys are Zay Flowers. So, but here's the thing why I give them a big advantage in this one is because Myles Garrett is always the flavor enhancer. Like, he's always the garlic butter at the end of a steak. Like, he gonna accentuate, he gonna make it easier for you, right? And then not only that, the defensive line is
playing well.
They're playing really well. They do some really, especially with Schlesinger and Graham, they do some things in the middle. Malik Collins is underrated. You look at some of the things he's been able to do. McGuire, a rotation with him and Wright. They do some nice things to stop the run. Like, I'm not worried about the run, and they like Josh Jacobs. I think this, if the offense does not put them in a position or special teams where you give up a turnover and they keep the ball in your own territory a bunch of times, I don't have no problem with the defense. The defense is not the problem. It's the fact that the offense and the special teams is not keeping complimentary football to keep them clean and off the field.
The thing that concerns me is Green Bay's leading receiver is Tucker Kraft, and the Browns haven't covered a tight end since they won the division in 1989.
Yes. Tight ends is always open on the Browns.
Always open.
At all times.
Tight ends are 7-Elevens.
Yeah, always
so
open.
So that's a real concern is when you have tight ends who are weapons, how many times has Mark Andrews or any of the Steelers tight ends just killed this team? So, and the slot situation, and credit to Tyvis for calling it out early. Tyvis said, Cam Mitchell. Well, Cam's been a problem the last couple weeks. And the offense put the defense in terrible positions last week at Baltimore. You laugh, well, you did throw 4 touchdowns. Well, that's because the Browns put him on a short field. And, Lamar made a couple plays that's just Lamar. And Jordan Love doesn't have that type of athleticism where he's going to turn his back, spin out of the pocket, roll, throw 50 yards on a dime. I don't know he's going to have quite that type of elite play, but obviously Jordan Love's an excellent quarterback. So I worry about the slot and I worry about the tight end. I'm with you on Greg's been great for 2 games.
He's been awesome, yeah.
We were all a little bit concerned about what would Greg be like going back to the outside. Denzel and Greg, if they're healthy, the concern level there is down. Matthew Golden will be a slot receiver for the Packers, I think. And he's only got a couple of targets this year. But that's the guy that I look at and go, okay, who's going to win the slot matchup and how are they going to cover Tucker?
Yeah.
So a couple things on Jordan Love, which I think are worth pointing out. He's not in the same tier as Lamar and Josh Allen. He's not in that tier.
No.
But he's in that next tier.
But I like him.
He's very
Couple
good.
stats for you, G. Ready? We talked about Jordan Love being a little turnover prone, right? That was the knock on him, take some risks. He hasn't thrown an interception since week 11 of last year. Hasn't thrown a regular season. Now, he threw it in the playoffs, but in the last 7 weeks of the regular season, first weeks of this season, has not thrown a pick. This season, G, he's averaging 13.3 air yards per attempt. You want to know what number 2 in the league is? It's under 10. Almost 3.5 more air yards per attempt than any other quarterback in football through 2 weeks, which means he's going to put a lot of pressure on Denzel, Newsome, and whoever else is playing in that secondary, forcing the ball downfield. We've talked about the Browns' offense being in this 10, 15-yard box. The Packers are the opposite. They are taking shots. And you mentioned Matthew Golden only having a couple targets. He's one slight overthrow and one slight underthrow from having like 200 yards last week. Yeah. He was open, and Love missed him by just that much, and he was their first-round pick, still developing chemistry. I think the advantage is clearly in the Browns' favor. Denzel Ward is better than any of the individual weapons that Green Bay has, and I think you can make the case that Greg Newsome is playing as well, if not better, than any of their outside threats. Tucker Kraft, their tight end, has been incredible through 2 weeks, but that's a Schlesinger and a Devin Bush problem, not an outside problem. I still give the advantage to the Browns secondary, but I'm not sleeping on the fact that this Green Bay passing attack can be pretty darn efficient and effective against almost any secondary in football. If Jordan Love has the running game going and they can use some play-action shots to push the ball deep downfield, I'm worried about the Matthew Goldens and the Dobbs and the Christian Watson in those mismatched alignments going up against the Hardens and the Cam Mitchells of the world. Yeah. Because we just saw Baltimore last week, G. Tyvus did that great breakdown on Tuesday, using motion to create mismatches. Nobody uses more motion, and no one uses more weird, funky alignments based off their formation, based off their shifts. And we're going to talk about this in the WKYC show coming up. Then Matt LaFleur, if he sees what Baltimore did on tape, you know he's had a few extra days to concoct some options and some plays to try and isolate the Harden and the Mitchells against their best receiver on some deep routes. So that's a little bit of my worry, but I still give the Browns the advantage.
I even take the fact that they're going to isolate them safeties too. They're going the weak, because here's the thing. I think even guys that linebacking core like Devin Bush has been playing really well.
He has been.
He's been playing really well. Like right now, it's not looking like there's really very many weak links. If it's me, I'm isolating the slot receiver. I want to make them think. I'm going to use motion. You take a look at what Tyvus talked about. All of that touchdown simply came from them motioning a guy across the line of scrimmage, getting him lined up quickly, snapping the football, and making him think, okay, what's my assignment after motion happens? And so I think that you're going to see, and LaFleur uses a ton of variation in the run game and the pass game. Like, he's going to make you think. And the Browns have not been doing a good job of communicating pass-offs, whether we're in cover 3, cover 2, what are we doing? And they're going to go after him. So that's going to be, to me, the matchup to really watch to see if the Browns can have a day. Because they're going to have a game, to me, not to this level, because I think there's different pieces that are better, but I think they're going to have a 49ers-type performance, where the 49ers a couple of years ago in 2023, where the Browns defensively just won that football game for them.
I can't give the Browns an advantage anywhere in this game. I mean, let's be realistic. The Packers are a Super Bowl contender. Are they the favorite? Maybe not the favorite, but they're a contender. Yeah. Could we all agree on that?
Oh, of course, yeah.
The Browns are not a contender for anything except a top 5 pick in this draft. So as much as I like what we've seen out of this defense, and I do, like, I'm really high on this defensive line. We talked about that after the Cincinnati game. I'm like, yeah, they lost the game, but there's a lot to like coming off this. When Malik Collins was terrific last week against Baltimore.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
And I think Mason Graham has showed himself well through 2 weeks. Obviously, we know what Myles can do. I thought Isaiah McGuire, I've seen it more out of McGuire. Like, PFF told us he was good last
Right.
year.
The eye test is confirmed.
I've seen it, right?
You're starting to flash a little
Yeah.
more because we was like, hold on, this might be fool's gold. The Isaiah McGuire
Yeah.
playing like one of the best top
P-
20 defensive ends is
PFF
kind of wild.
might be dead, but they had at least one heartbeat left.
Yeah.
And that heartbeat was maybe that Isaiah McGuire's. better
He's
than we give
he's
credit for.
flashing a lot more, and the rotation works.
So I really like this defensive line. Really, really like it. Obviously high on Schlesinger at corner or at linebacker. Devin Bush made some plays, or you noticed him at least. So there are reasons to be optimistic about this Browns defense. But against a team, even though you're at home, going against a team that has a top quarterback in Jordan Love, I can't give the Browns an advantage at anywhere.
They're
in this
8.5-point favorites on the road for a reason.
Yeah.
So we're looking for minor advantages here,
Sure.
Jason. But you're right. At the end of the day, Green Bay is an 8.5-point road favorite.
Well, I will say this though. I think Myles Garrett is a major
Yeah.
event. If Myles Garrett,
and
and
Denzel's better than any of their
I've
individual receivers.
never said this before, but I'm about a lot of defensive ends. Like Micah Parsons is good, but it's starting to be a difference between Micah Parsons, Max Crosby, T.J. Watt, and what Myles Garrett is doing because those guys are playing with better players. They're playing with other people, different things. And by the way, their offenses are a lot better, which helps you out a little bit. But Myles Garrett, by him just being 95, gives you a shot. And that's not it's super difficult to say that about a defensive player.
I said it yesterday. I said it again. No player in football has been better through the first 2 weeks than 95.
He can keep a game. If you can keep a game close, he can win you a game.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I just don't know if there's enough around them to keep them in
Facts.
the game to put him in position to win it for them.
Right.
Fair enough.
Right.